It's gonna be so hard to sync up all this down because I'm not like ready to take one, take two. Good evening. Welcome to Cold Burn, the Cold Fireside Chat Show. I'm your host, Lewis Watts. Tonight on the program, we're lucky enough to have an up-and-coming musician, Lewis Watts. His recently released music video, Only a Minor, is sweeping the nation. It's had hundreds of views on the YouTube network and at least dozens of listens on the Spotify streaming music platform. For a nation pent up with the pandemic of 2020, 2021, living a life remote, the music and especially the Zoom-themed video have touched a certain chord in people's hearts and minds. So let's give a warm welcome to distinguished guest, Lewis Watts. Welcome, Lewis. Thank you for having me. I've always wanted to be on a show like this, so it's a great honor. I'm a big fan of what you do. It's a tremendous show. I mean, the chat format, evergreen. So thank you for having me. Thanks for being with us tonight. So I'm just going to jump right in, and I want to ask, why music? Why now? It's a good question. I mean, a lot has to do with this past year with quarantine, or just having to be isolated, working from home, not getting to go out and stuff like that. And I'm sort of naturally an introverted person, so I don't call people that often, write emails, even text message. So I think in a way, doing shows like this, making music videos, is a way to sort of communicate with the people I know. But also, it's sort of been a long time coming. So, working remotely most of last year, and now I work fully remote. All this pent up creative energy because you're not going out and stuff. So it just kind of all of it sort of after a year of doing, being pretty busy with work and stuff, and just like started to come out and started making music and whatnot. So those are two major factors. I've been wanting to make music for a while. I used to do it as a visual artist for a long time, and I just was like getting more and more frustrated with the sort of career side of my visual arts. All of these things came together, and I just started one Saturday making music again, and so it's been pretty. You're a visual artist as well. This is alt. So, have you been making just no music at all in the past 12 years? Or have you been dabbling here and there? Or can you go into that a little more deeply for us, for our viewers? Yeah, I mean, basically, after college, I played in a few bands that I was pretty serious about, and they were getting more serious right around the time that I decided I wanted to pivot completely to visual arts. And that's so long ago now, I can't say why. I think a lot had to do with just wanting to be able to do everything on my own, and sort of the freedom that allotted. So yeah, in 2008, I guess 2009, I moved to New York, and between that time and now, or a couple of years ago, I basically pawned off all my equipment, just trying to pay rent and stuff. I had an acoustic guitar, so I messed around with that. learn like a David Allan Coe song or something, just kind of mess around on some riffs, but nothing real serious. No, I mean, the last time I considered myself doing anything serious with music was 2008 when I actually recorded the last song that I recorded before, only a minor. So yeah, I mean, basically nothing for 12 years. So now you're focused just completely on music? Is that what you're saying? I wouldn't say I'm completely focused on music exclusively now. I mean, as I mentioned, like it's scratching a lot of the same bugs. And finally, we'd like to ask all of our guests to recommend a movie, a book, and an album that they're listening to. Good question, especially with this past year. I spent a lot of time reading books, watching movies. That was Louis Watts. What a delight. What an absolute delight that was. He has a new music video dropping on February 13th. So stay tuned for that. That'll drop on his YouTube channel. I believe that is youtube.com. And then in the search engine, type in Louis, L-O-U-I-S, Watts, W-A-T-T-S. So be sure to check that out on February 13th. In addition, in the following month, he said he's mastering or remastering some old tracks and wants to release a compilation. So keep an eye out for that as well. It's all very exciting stuff. Now, as always, before we go, we have a short segment by a local stand-up comedian. We'll send it off to him and then be on our way. Thank you very much for viewing Colbert. Good evening. Hey, good evening. How are y'all doing? Hope your weekend's going well. Mine's off to a bit of a rough start. I went to this Zoom gathering, multiple people, 50, 60 people, all these different little side talk, hangouts. And I kept calling a GIF a GIF, and people were like, Louis, what is your problem? Like, why are you such a horrible person? It was just so shameful. The whole evening I kept doing it. I don't know why I kept talking about GIFs anyway, but I just kept doing it. I kept being like, GIF, have you seen that GIF? And people are just like, I don't even want to speak to you. And so by the end of the night, I was just really down on myself. And I was just like, man, why do I always do this? Why do I always go to these social gatherings and end up making such a fool of myself and making all these just ridiculous jaffs? And to make matters worse, there were a lot of family members at this event, and I really want the respect of my family. I have kind of a lot of cool people in my family, and I just want them to think hey, this guy Louis, he's a worthwhile fella. We kind of like him, but that's what makes it so hard. Is making such a fool of myself, and I just don't think. For instance, I don't think my uncle Geff is ever going to look at me the same. I know, it's a wonderful joke. It's annoying. I was, before all this, when you're out going, actually doing, stand-up bits out on the scene, I was at this club, was doing that bit, just killing. The crowd's going wild. I had a good buddy, had a great camera, great angles, editing, perfect. We put it up on YouTube. I was like, this is it. Finally gonna break through. This is gonna be my big moment. I'm finally gonna do it. And then it did nothing. I got 20, 30 views. It was so depressing. I was dreaming of like, oh, I'll get a Netflix special in a year or two, you know, like this bit, this whole set, it's killer, it's gonna be amazing. And it just flopped, and I really got down on myself, and you know, I had a hard time for a while, but eventually I was like, you can't control everything. It's out of your hands. All you can do is try your best, you know, get out there, go get them, Lewis. And so I started to get over it and feel better. And really, the thing of it is, it's like so much of this sort of thing is just luck. And for whatever reason, you know, that video just didn't quite hit right. I released it at the wrong time, and it just didn't get into the right algorithm. Okay, that's all. I'll leave now. Thanks. Have a good night.